So open streets. So at the beginning of the pandemic, we saw a lot of issues with people trying to get outside to get exercise, recreation, even just socializing with neighbors. With most people staying at home, not going to work, kids not going to school, so our streets were relatively free of traffic. So we utilized that space with outdoor dining by closing off roads or making it safer for pedestrians to walk. Because one of the side effects we saw from the lack of cars on the road is that the roads actually became more dangerous. With heavy traffic creates its own sort of safety. With more cars on the road, people are more cautious, more aware of what's going on around them. But if you remove a certain level of traffic, roads become more dangerous. And though we saw a decrease across the United States in car accidents, we actually saw an increase in pedestrian fatalities. And this is pretty discouraging as people are trying to get outside with their families, with their pets, ride their bicycles, just get out there in the community. So cities and towns scrambled to try and come up with safe pedestrian zones, and they tried to do this quickly and inexpensively by reallocating street space for pedestrians and cyclists. And they did this by either slowing down traffic or by reallocating street space strictly for pedestrians and cyclists to make the streets multimodal. Next slide. As I mentioned, towns on the Eastern Shore adjusted pretty quickly to finding outdoor seating for restaurants. This is Cambridge along Race Street and Poplar Street. Their Main Street group went to the restaurants and asked, how can we help? And they said, we need outdoor seating. Next slide. Easton did the same. They found seating along Washington Street. I know they had bigger plans for Washington Promenade, and those plans were cut short, but they pivoted and they came up with this smaller, more incremental step, and it was a huge success. Really helped out a lot of the restaurants along Washington Street, and I know they're looking to expand this and hope to do it again next year. Next slide. Chestertown, Main Street Group and DCA did a great job in creating these outdoor seating for the kitchen and for Casa Carmen on Camden Street. They were great success, and I know that with the winter months, it's unsure about how long this will continue, but it's something that I hope continues further, because though I wasn't able to enjoy it, I have a toddler, and it's hard to get out with a toddler to have dinner during a pandemic, but it's something I hope to enjoy in the future. And all three towns made use of tools and channels that are already there. The Main Street groups, we know how to shut down streets for festivals. We did it with our farmers market. Sort of turned the farmers market into a festival every Saturday. That's been great. It's something that we already know how to do, and it's something we're very good at doing. Next slide. Another example, Annapolis. They had outdoor seating and events on West Street, down by the water. But what about the rest of the long road ahead? Because this pandemic is coming back, and it looks like we might be heading for another shutdown. Well, I hope it's not as bad as it was in the spring, but it's looking like we're heading that direction. So the idea is that you take street space, or space that's dedicated to cars, which we have a lot of in Chestertown and a lot of in every town on the Eastern Shore and throughout the US. And we reallocate some of that street space to pedestrians, whether it's outdoor seating, temporary bike lanes or sidewalks, or traffic calming devices to slow down traffic so that pedestrians, cyclists, and cars can all safely use the same street together. So who builds open streets? Short answer, we do. It's a tool that empowers communities, and it fosters connections and relationships between residents, businesses, nonprofits, town staff, youth groups. We are the ones who come up with the ideas. We are the ones who know our neighborhoods better than anybody else. We are the ones who know what changes would help make our neighborhoods safer and more livable places. Next slide. Business owners know what will benefit their business. They're the ones who can ask, I would like to put a park in front of my shop for outdoor seating for my customers. Or I would like to block off the street in front of my shop so that I could have these events like Casa Carmen and Kitchen Input. It puts, like I said, it puts the power within the businesses and the residents. Next slide. Because we all have ideas that would make our neighborhood safer. I have a 2-year-old daughter who one day might go to Chestertown Middle School. And it makes me a little uncomfortable to think that in order for her to walk to middle school, which is only 2 blocks away, there's not a single sidewalk from here to there. Just an example of residents who know their neighborhoods better than anybody else who come up with these ideas. And they're the ones who can petition to the town, I'd like to test out this idea for a weekend or a week, gather feedback, see if it works, see if the project needs adjustments, changes, or if it doesn't work out at all, it can be scrapped and at very little expense or time being spent. I can think of a couple other examples in town from discussions with other residents, a sidewalk going down Philosopher's Terrace, sidewalks going down Hack Drive that can connect the residents out there with the new YMCA that's going up on the corner of Hack and Sheeler Road. Also Flatland Road, which I went into detail a while ago.